Mighty companions, welcome to the way of mastery. Welcome to the way of mastery here on Facebook Live. Welcome to the way of mastery. This is Earl Purdy. And I'm so glad to have you here with me for the way of mastery. It's going to be a mighty adventure with my mighty companions. Here in a way of mastery on Facebook Live, we're going to cover a section called Only You Have the Power to Create Your Experience. That's the topic we're going to be on in today's Way of Mastery. Only you have the power to create your experience. And we're going to get into how we can allow that to happen in a peaceful, powerful, loving way. It's so wonderful that you have your mighty companions with you. That is the beauty of doing this live, is that we can interact with each other, communicate with each other, make comments, ask questions. And I want to let you know that I am thrilled beyond words to be here with you. This is something that I love to do so much. Welcome, mighty companions. We are the mighty companions, and we are going to do the way of mastery. The way of mastery, we're doing the section called You Have the Power to Create Your Experience. It's in part 2 of the way of mastery, the way of transformation, lesson 13, page 161. And if you're on an ebook, you just want to do a search on Only You Have the Power to Create Your Experience. It's in lesson 13. In the way of transformation, you are unlimited spirit. Let's say that. You are unlimited spirit. Say it. I am unlimited spirit. On page 161 in the way of transformation, lesson 13. Say it to yourself again. I am unlimited spirit. I am unlimited spirit. Tell the truth about yourself. Let's use that statement to allow us to get centered right now. Let's say, I am unlimited spirit. I am unlimited spirit. Claim it for yourself. I am unlimited spirit. We are unlimited spirit. Don't forget that you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas may seem quite startling. But we're not going to analyze the ideas. It's the use of the ideas that will give them meaning to you. It is using the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Tonight's topic is Only You Have the Power to Create Your Experience. Only I have the power to create my own experience. Only I have the power to create my experience. Only you have the power to create your experience. Say it to yourself. Only I have the power to create my experience. Then you take a deep breath and you say, only I have the power to create my experience. Then you take a very deep breath. Only I have the power to create my experience. And you let it go deep within your mind and your soul. And you let go of the thoughts of the day, the concerns of the day. Lay aside your analytical ego mind and open yourself up to the higher power within you, communicating through this material. This is the Way of Mastery. I am Earl Purdy. Please share this video. Like this Facebook page, follow this Facebook page, the Earl Purdy page, so that you can be notified every time I go live with the Facebook Live broadcast. But we are the mighty companions. We are forming a beautiful soul family that's meeting live every week. I want to welcome my mighty soul family. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with my mighty soul family. You are now with your mighty soul family, and we're going to focus on only you have the power to create your experience. Say it to yourself. Only I have the power to create my experience. What? Only I have the power to create my experience. Only I have the power to create my experience. Say it to yourself. Only I have the power to create my experience. Only you have the power to create your experience. Woo! So we're on page 161 in the Way of Mastery that you can buy on Amazon.com. I'm Earl. And we're going to get started with this. I'm going to go through the paragraph, and I'm not going to go to the next paragraph until I feel like we've kind of really heard what Yeshua, what Spirit is trying to tell us in this paragraph. One of the main guidances that I've been getting lately is that Spirit is saying, look, you all need to slow down. You need to slow down. That's what I was hearing Spirit say to me. He said, you need to slow down and let these words and the spiritual energy behind these words start to wake you up. Try not to get into the part of your mind that's all about asking endless questions without really perceiving any meaningful answers. And that's what the Way of Mastery in the Course in Miracles calls the ego. He says it's the questioning aspect of the post-separation self. So you are more than the separate self. And so it says at the very beginning of the paragraph on page 61 in the Way of Mastery, only you have the power to create your experience. It says, listen, what is the first thing that we're being asked? I'm glad, Arlene. I'm glad that you're happy to be here with me. I'm happy to be here with you. Tracy, Diana, CJ, Kim, Sean, Cheryl, all the rest of you mighty companions that are coming online. It's great to see my divine peeps. And this is what we're being told. So here we go. Listen carefully. Listen carefully to what? No one, I say no one, has the power to create your experience. No one has the power to create what happens to you. No one else has the power to create your experience. Do you know what that means? That means no one has the power to limit your experience. There's not a person on this earth that has the power to limit your experience. Can't blame daddy. You can't blame mommy. You can't blame your childhood anymore. You can't blame your partners, your friends, your mates, co-workers, people of other races, ethnic groups, cultures, political parties. You are the one who limits you or frees you. No one has the power to limit your experience. So what does that mean? Well, it means nowhere in the laws of God has it ever been written, nowhere in the laws of God, that you must conform. There's nowhere in the laws of love that it's written that you must conform. No one, the laws of God are not saying that you have to ever conform your experience to the choices of another. You never have to live the way someone else wants you to live. You never have to conform to the choices that someone else is making for you. You remain free. So what does that mean? If you remain free, it means that you are free to freely choose. You know something, whenever I first we've been taught through the way of mastery that the purpose of the body is to be a medium of communication to join our minds and hearts together. So I'm using my body as a means of communication to join our minds and our hearts. Have you ever thought about how that might be the real function of your body? That you use your body to communicate love, that you use your body to communicate truth, that you use your body to be the embodiment of Christ, the embodiment of your true self. That's the Christ, your loving self, your truly loving self. You may not be aware of this. Would you like to know something else that you may not be aware of? You may not be aware of the fact that you are the one who can bless creation. So that means you are the one that can bless me. You are the one that can bless me. You are the one that can bless creation. That means you are the one that can bless every one of your mighty companions that's online with you right now. That means you can bless all of creation. So when does your blessing of creation really begin? When do you really start blessing creation? Well, you begin to bless creation when you are willing to assume responsibility for what you want to use time for. So how do you bless creation? Well, it begins with you being willing to assume responsibility for what you want to use time for. It's up to you to decide what you want to use your time for. And if you want to use your time to bless creation, don't you know that that means you're being the embodiment of Christ? And when you're being the embodiment of love, that's when you remain free. And don't forget, you never have to conform to the choices of somebody else for you. And no one has the power to limit your experience. And no one has the power to create your experience. Listen carefully. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Listen carefully. No one has the power to create your experience. There's not another person on the face of the earth that has the power to create your experience, but there's no one else on the face of the earth that has the power to limit your experience. It's not written anywhere in the laws of God that you have to conform to somebody else's choices about what it is you do. And you are free to be the very embodiment of love and truth, which is the embodiment of Christ. You are the one that can bless creation. But if you're going to bless creation, it begins with you being willing to assume responsibility for what you're going to do with your time. In that first paragraph, we got so many powerful, powerful statements of truth. Now, do you know that in truth, that's what you're doing anyway? Even if you don't believe that you're the one that's creating your experience or limiting your experience, it doesn't make any difference if you truly believe that or not. You're doing it anyway. You're the one that's creating your experience, but you're the one that's also limiting your experience if you're perceiving it that way. You are always using time for exactly what you are choosing to use time for. You are always using time for exactly what you are choosing. Whatever you choose is how you're going to use your time. Whatever you're choosing is how you're going to use your time. That means you are not surviving. That means you are not trying to get things done that the world is requiring. That means never is anything occurring except one thing, that you are having awareness of the effects of how you are choosing to use consciousness. Right now, what you are aware of right now is what? You are aware of the effects of how you are using your own consciousness. What you are experiencing in your life right now are the effects and results of how you are using your consciousness. Your experience of life is just an effect of how you are choosing to use your consciousness. Whatever you are experiencing in this situation that you're dealing with right now, you're just having the effects of, you're just having the awareness of the effects of how you are using your consciousness. That's the only thing that's happening right now. Wow, so I'm having the effects of everything that I'm going through right now is that I'm having the awareness of the effects of how I'm choosing to use consciousness. That's the only thing that anybody is experiencing. They're just experiencing the awareness of the effects of how they're choosing to use their minds, their consciousness. So what's going on with your cousin? Your cousin is having the awareness of the effects of how your cousin is choosing to use their consciousness. What's happening with your children? What's happening with your partner? Your partner is just having the awareness of the effects of how they're choosing to use their consciousness. What's happening with your boss? What's happening with your lover? What's happening with your friends? Your friends are just experiencing the awareness of the effects of how they're choosing to use their consciousness. That's all. That's all anybody's experiencing. I don't care how young they are. I don't care how old they are. All souls are ancient and eternal anyway. A baby has a baby body and a baby ego, but that baby is just as much of an unlimited soul with their own history and lessons as you do. And that baby is experiencing the effects of how they are choosing to use their consciousness, and you are having awareness of the effects of how you are choosing to use your consciousness. That's all. So how does the way of transformation begin? How does the way of transformation begin? Ultimately, it begins where it ends. The way of transformation begins the same place the way of transformation ends. But the difference will be that you will no longer even want to choose anything that speaks of limitation. Say to yourself, I no longer want to choose anything that speaks of limitation. I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. When we do the way of mastery together, we're going to do it as we read it and go through it. Because that's a symbolic gesture. When you do any of the exercises or whenever you do anything that a wisdom text tells you to do, like the way of mastery, that is the symbolic gesture that you are making to show higher power that you are willing to have the happiness that it promises. So tell yourself, I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. I no longer want to choose anything that speaks of limitation, which means I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. I no longer want to choose anything that limits me. You do not want to choose anything that limits you. You do not want to choose anything that limits you. And in relationship, you should say, I no longer want to choose anybody that limits me. I no longer want to choose anybody that limits me. I no longer want to choose anybody that limits me. I don't want to choose anybody that limits me. I no longer want to choose anybody that limits me. So even though the body-mind that you once identified as yourself, now if you're really beginning to have a true spiritual rebirth, do you know that if you are really beginning to have a true spiritual rebirth, you recognize that you are not your body, and you're also beginning to recognize that you are not the mind that you have made up. So if you are no longer identifying with the body, and you're no longer identifying with the mind that you made up, that still seems to be moving around in space and time, you will not even look at that body, you will not even look at that mind and even say mind anymore. So that means that no longer say my body, start saying the body. This is not my body, this is the body. When you look down at the body, no longer say it's mine. What you want to call it is the body. This is the body. And my mind that thinks it's separate, the mind that thinks it's different from love, the mind that thinks it's different and separate, call that the mind. And together you would call it the body mind. You are no longer the body mind, the mind that thinks it's limited to a body, the mind that thinks it is a body, the mind that thinks it's attached to the body. You are no longer to think of yourself as the mind that thinks it is in the body. So what is the body mind? The body mind is a temporary communication device. So tell yourself, my body is the body. See, I got to remember to do that because I have that habit too. The body. That's awesome, Diana, that we're in synchronicity, that you made a video about the body. I know, we are one mind. That's what we are. And we want to say the body mind is what? The body mind is a temporary communication device. To communicate is to join. So you could say the body mind is a temporary joining device. Brought forth from the ocean of my unlimited self. So what is your body? What is the body? The body and the human mind, the body mind, is a temporary communication device. Where did the body come from? It came from the ocean of your unlimited self. and you've done it a multitude of times, and you've done it in a multitude of universes. You have brought forth bodies that you have expressed through a multitude of times. You have allowed a body to come out of your unlimited self many, many times. You have had many bodies. You've had lots of bodies. The bodies. And you have expressed yourself in a multitude of bodies, in a multitude of universes. I'm just telling you the truth now. That's what we're getting together to do. We're getting together to tell each other the truth. I'm Earl Purdy. Please share this on your timeline. What's the big deal? What do you mean, what's the big deal? You have manifested body after body after body after body after body after body after body. You've had a lot of bodies. You have expressed yourself through a multitude of bodies in a multitude of universes. So what's the big deal? So what is it that's going to make the biggest shift? Your consciousness. The thing that's going to make many shifts is your consciousness. And in the Course in Miracles, it defines your consciousness as your level of interpretation. The level at which you interpret what's happening to you, that's your level of consciousness. Your level of consciousness is your level of interpretation of things. If I am interpreting that I am unlimited spirit, and that I have manifested the body mind, and that the body mind is a temporary communication device. It's a device for joining and sharing love. That's my interpretation of the body. So that's my level of consciousness around the body. If you interpret the body as being you, then that is a misperception. And since you are wrongly identifying yourself as a body, then you will experience the pains and joys that goes with that identification. And how can you truly be fearless and unafraid if you are identifying with the body that can be hurt and that can be destroyed? So it's time for your consciousness to have a new perspective. And that means that you will know that you are pure spirit. So what is the new perspective? What is the shift in consciousness? The shift in consciousness is that you are pure spirit, that you really don't live in time at all. Your greater self does not live in time at all. You will come to know that you can simply delight. Delight in what? Delight in utilizing the body-mind. How? As a communication device. So what did we just hear? That it should be a delight for you to utilize your body as a means of joining. Should be a delight. Using the body as a means of communication, using the body as a joining device, using the body to join minds and hearts like we're doing right now. That should be delightful. It should be very delightful for you to utilize your body mind as a communication device. Who you really are is beyond time and is not limited by time. The pure spirit that you are doesn't abide in time at all. Do you know that it's time for you to take on a new perspective so that your consciousness can shift? So when you get on an airplane and you travel to some distant shore, to a place that you are enjoying being in, well, you're still using the body-mind as a communication device between you and the earth, which means between you and other creations that have come forth from other minds. Whether it's a beautiful building, whether it's a beautiful painting, all that you are ever experiencing is something that you've drawn to yourself through the medium of your body. So what is it that you are experiencing all day long? What is it that you are experiencing right now? What is it that you are experiencing in this very moment? You are experiencing something that you have attracted to yourself, drawn to yourself through the medium of the body. Right now, I'm experiencing what I have attracted to myself through the medium of the body. No matter what you are experiencing, no matter what it is you are experiencing right now, you are only experiencing something that you have drawn to yourself through what? The medium of the body. You have just had and are having an experience, and that's all. So what are you doing all day? You're just having experiences all day. You judge it good, you judge it bad, you judge it fun, you judge it sad. But the truth is, the only thing that you have experienced today, the only thing that you are experiencing right now, the only thing that you're going to experience tomorrow, and the only thing you experienced yesterday was an experience. So what you want to say is, I'm just having experiences. I am just having experiences. I'm having an experience. I'm just having an experience with my partner. I'm just having an experience with my child. I'm just having an experience at work. I'm just having an experience when I go shopping. I'm just having an experience when I do yoga. I'm just having an experience when I go to the movie. I went to hear an incredible musical group Friday night, joining with some friends. It was an incredible experience of using the body to party like a big dog, using the body to join minds and hearts in movement. We just had an experience, just experiences of joining. I decided that that was an experience of love. I could have just as easily decided that that was an experience that wasn't loving. But it really was just an experience. That's all. So what are you? You're the one that's unlimited. That means you're the one that's in the driver's seat. Hey, listen to me. You're the one that's in the driver's seat. You are the one that's in the driver's seat. It's you that's in the driver's seat, not the you think you are, the ego body alone. I'm not talking about the you that you think you are. I'm talking about the you that is pure spirit. I'm talking about the part of you that knows it's unlimited. I'm talking about the part of you that believes it's eternal and knows it's eternal. I'm talking about the part of you that knows that you are the creator of your own experience. It is that part of you that's in the driver's seat, not your ego, not the little ego self that's scared and worried and upset and confused about everything. You are not who you think you are. You are not who you think you are. You are in the driver's seat, but not your ego. Your ego thinks it's in the driver's seat. So what is it that we need to do? I love the comments, and I see the comments, and I love how we are all coming together to use the body as a communication device to remind each other the truth and join in love and in the heart, and to temporarily let go of our identification with the ego, body, mind, and to remember that we are unlimited beings that really don't live in time. And you're also remembering that the body came from the unlimited creative ocean of your unlimited self. So it's time for us to bring awareness to the limiting definitions of ourselves. Okay, so we need to bring our awareness to the limiting definition of ourselves. What does that mean, bringing awareness to the limiting definitions of yourself? Well, that's the second stage. That's the second stage of the way of transformation. And what does the second stage of the way of transformation require? It requires that you bring awareness to the little squiggly lines that you've drawn on the white and unlimited and perfectly unblemished canvas of consciousness. It means your psychologist would call these personalities a mask. It means come to be aware of the little selves you have created. Okay. It's time for you to become aware of the little self that you have created with the Social Security number. It's time for you to become aware of the little idea of yourself that you created that has a Social Security number. How do you become aware of the little self that you've created for yourself? Well, you do it by beginning to ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself these questions. What am I defending? What is it that I am defending? Ask yourself this question. What am I defending? What am I defending? What am I? Take a moment, because remember, we give ourselves the experience of this. So we want to ask ourselves, what am I defending? What am I defending? What is it that I am defending? What am I defending right now? What am I defending right now? What are you defending? What am I continuing on a daily basis that no longer fulfills me? What are you doing every day that you get no fulfillment out of? Ask yourself, what am I doing that doesn't give me any fulfillment? You can ask yourself that question in your own way. What am I continuing to do every day that doesn't give me any kind of fulfillment? What am I continuing to do every day that doesn't give me fulfillment? What am I defending? What am I continuing on a daily basis that no longer fulfills me? What is it that I'm doing every day that no longer fulfills me? Stop. Ask yourself that question right now. What am I continuing on a daily basis that no longer fulfills me? What am I continuing on a daily basis that doesn't really fulfill me? What am I doing that doesn't really turn me on? How many things am I doing every day that don't really turn me on? Who am I being with every day who I don't really turn myself on through? What am I doing every day that I don't turn myself on through? What am I continuing on a daily basis that's no longer fulfilling me? After all, I've been there. I've done that. How might I look upon these little selves, your little selves, which are these little drops of foam on this temporary wave that you brought forth? In other words, how might you use all your little selves differently? How could you use all the little concepts of yourself differently? And then ask yourself, I wonder if I could create a brand new what? Self. I wonder if I could create a brand new idea of myself, a brand new thought about myself, a brand new self-concept. Why is this important? Why is this important? It's because of the squiggles of life that you've drawn. Let me give you an example. For instance, perhaps you would say to yourself, well, I'm Earl Purdy. I'm a teacher of A Course in Miracles and other truth material, and I'm an astrologer and a numerologist. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. My parents were Joe and Georgia Purdy, and I'd really be different except that my father had a serious alcohol problem when I was growing up. I might have been saying to myself, I'm Earl Purdy. I'm working as a teacher. My parents were, really cool people, but it looked like my father had a drinking problem. And if I had not experienced that, then I'd really be perfect right now. I'd really be completely happy right now. The second you define yourself, listen carefully, the second you define yourself, as soon as you define yourself as any kind of concept in any way, that can even be, I define myself as a man, I define myself as a woman, I define myself as black, I define myself as white, I define myself as Hispanic or whatever the race or culture. Whenever you define yourself, you constrain yourself within the parameters that you have chosen to value. What does that mean? It means that you live within your values. Whatever your value system is, whatever your belief system is, it surrounds what you think of as you, and it limits you and it constrains you within what you have chosen to value. If I see myself as being a man, then I'm going to constrain myself to being a man and to the limitations and parameters of that idea and the values that that idea of being a man demands of me. So then you create exactly the experience of the vibrations that are the effect of those squiggles, which are those values. In other words, I want you to think of these squiggles that I'm talking about. Think of these squiggles as the parameters of a little self. Think of these squiggles as the effect of certain pebbles of thought that have been dropped into the pond of your consciousness. And once you draw the lines, once you define yourself, certain effects are going to flow from the definitions of how you see yourself. If I think I'm a black man in America and I look at that in any kind of a fear-based way, then I'm going to experience what appears to be the negative effects of being a black man in America. However I've defined myself, then I have drawn the lines, and then there are going to be certain effects that flow from that definition of myself. That's why the Way of Mastery has said to us many times, take 5 minutes and then see yourself as the Christ. See yourself as the unlimited self. See yourself as the loving self. See yourself as pure spirit, because that definition of yourself, don't you know it does not limit you at all? So, what if you were to decide to create a self that sees itself as completely unlimited? So what if a person decided to create a self that they see as being completely unlimited? What would happen if you decided to create a self that sees itself as perfectly unlimited? Okay, I'm going to make up a me that sees itself as unlimited. I'm going to have ideas of myself. I'm going to have ideas about who I think I am. What if I were to decide to create a perception of myself that sees itself as not being limited? What would happen if you decided to create a version of yourself that you did not see as that you didn't see as limited? What would happen if you were to decide to create a self that you experience as being perfectly unlimited? So how do you do that? Well, instead of saying, I have to go see my sister, I have to go visit my mother, I have to go see my girlfriend, I have to go see my boyfriend. Suppose you said, like for instance, I have to go see my sister. I know she used to beat me, but that's the way it is. It's just who I am. You simply sit back and say, instead of saying all the old stuff that you used to say, instead of saying the things about yourself that dispirit you, instead of saying the things about yourself that make you feel limited, instead of saying the things about yourself that defines you as a limited being, why don't you say, I am a perfectly unlimited being. 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 And I think I will create a self. I think I will create a self. I think I will create a self. I am an unlimited being, and I think I will create an image of myself. I think I will create a self who is an expression of the unlimited love of Christ. I'm going to create a self. I'm going to create a self that is an expression of what? Of the unlimited love of the true self. The true self is the Christ. Okay, I am going to see this human being, and you might use that person's name. If there's someone that you have a grievance with, that you think they did something to hurt you or injure you, you might use their name. But don't call them mother. Don't call them sister. Don't call them cousin. Don't call them my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my wife, my husband. Don't call them by the names that the world defines. But I am going to utilize time for beaming as much love to this person or these persons as I can. Whoever this is that I think has wronged me, whoever it is that I am tempted to blame for whatever unhappiness that I'm going through, I'm going to see this human being, and I'm going to utilize time for beaming as much love to them as I possibly can, for no other reason than it feels really good to do it. I'm going to see this human being that I look at as being a perpetrator of some type of pain for me. I'm going to see this human being, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize my time, instead of focusing my time on every wrongdoing I think they've done to me and everything I think I'm upset about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this time to beam as much love to this person as I possibly can. I'm going to visualize this person in your mind. Anybody that you think has wronged you. Anybody that when you think about them, it doesn't give you peace and you get upset. What you want to do is say, I'm going to utilize time for beaming as much love to them as I possibly can, but I'm going to do it not because of what I'm looking for them to give me, or I'm not doing it so that they can treat me better. I'm doing it because it feels good to do it. I'm going to shoot love out to this person that I think has wronged me just because it feels good to do it. Why does it feel good to do it? It feels good to do it because I am the embodiment of Christ. Earl Purdy, I am the embodiment of Christ. You are the embodiment of Christ. What does it mean to be the embodiment of Christ? It means that you are the embodiment of true love. You are the embodiment of real love. You are the embodiment of the unlimited self. That's what it means to be the embodiment of Christ. And this other person is also the embodiment of love. This other person is the embodiment of Christ. And they may not know it. Don't you know that most people don't know that they are the embodiment of Christ? Don't you know that at this level of consciousness, most people around you think that they are their bodies and that they've lost awareness of their unlimited self, that they don't realize their body is just a communication device, that they don't realize that they're creating every single thing that happens to them, and every limitation that they experience is a limitation that they put upon themselves. Our brothers and sisters, those parts of us that are asleep, they are the embodiment of Christ. They are the embodiment of love. They are the embodiment of the true self, but they may not know it. But it doesn't matter if your cousin knows he's the embodiment of spirit and truth and light. It doesn't matter if the people around you don't know it at this particular time. It's your job to remember for everyone. It's your job to remember that everyone is creating their experience and that it's nobody else forcing anybody else to be in a certain way. Your job is the light of the world. Your purpose as the light of the world. The reason why you are here is to be a conduit of the good, the beautiful, and the holy. And you can enjoy it anyway. You can enjoy them being the body of Christ. You can enjoy another person being the body of love. You can enjoy that. And it doesn't matter whether or not they know it yet or not. You can enjoy it. So yes. So if you are an unlimited being and you're creating your experience to what you choose to spend your time on, the question is, should I stop forcing myself to continue showing up to the perceived obligations that's causing me stress and limitation? Should I stop forcing myself to continue showing up to the perceived obligations that's causing me stress and limitation? What you should do is ask yourself, your greater self, your God self. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say, and who do you want me to say it to? And also to stop forcing yourself to do the things that don't give you any fulfillment. It would be to your advantage to also have something that is related to your mission and your purpose that you're getting ready to do. Basically, don't do anything that increases your fear, if at all possible, because fear is separation. Fear is limiting yourself to your small self. And if you do something to knowingly increase your fear, that is not moving in the direction of freedom. So just make sure if you do let go of the things you think that don't fulfill you, make sure that you have the faith, the sense of connection to your source that would allow you to let that go, especially if it's something that you think is giving you the money to live off of. Then just make sure you have the faith and the focus on the truth that if you did let that go, you would not be throwing yourself into a deeper state of fear, because a deeper state of fear is a deeper state of limitation. Just don't deceive yourself about where you are in consciousness. And the truth is, you're going to find out, just like CJ is saying, that ultimately it's easier to change your perception than to change the physical circumstance in reality. And in reality, the only thing that's making anything boring and unfulfilling, ultimately, is the way that you're looking at it and whether or not that thing is allowing you to fulfill your mission, which is to be the living embodiment of the Christ, which is to be a living embodiment of love and truth. Do you see how that could begin to move you beyond an identification of a certain definition of yourself? So we are being asked to move beyond an identification that we have. We are being asked to move beyond a certain definition of ourselves that we have, because it's the definition of yourself that you have that locks you into a narrow set of perimeters, which can only have certain kinds of effects. So what is the message here? The message is you're going to live within the limitations of the beliefs and values that you hold. How you define yourself is going to determine your physical reality. How you define yourself is going to determine your physical reality. You are no longer to define yourself as the body-mind. You are not the limited body-mind. You are the infinite self that produces many bodies and many body-minds. So then it becomes an issue of what are you going to use your body-mind for? Well, you're going to use your body-mind now to remind you of your unlimited self and to see everybody around you as also not being body-minds either, that they are also the living embodiment of Christ, the living embodiment of the true self. So what if you were to sit down with the people you call your parents? What if you were to deliberately choose to look at your parents as beings that you have called into your field of awareness? What if you decided to look at me not as any concept, not as a man, not as a brother, not as a son, not as a teacher? Suppose you deliberately chose to look at me as just a being that you have called into your awareness. Everybody in your life, they're just beings that you have called into your awareness. That's what everyone in your life is. You called them there. Everyone that's in your life, you called them there. And they called you into their lives. It's never an accident. The people that you are around every day, nothing about that is an accident. There's nothing about your life that is an accident. There is no such thing as an accident. No one dies by accident. No one is hurt in the body by accident. Not a relationship you've ever had has been an accident. Nothing that's ever happened to you has been an accident. Nothing that's ever going to happen to you is an accident. It's always something that you have called into your field of awareness. So what if you chose to see everybody in your life as infinite? What if you chose to see everybody in your life as a being that you have called into your consciousness, a being you have called into your awareness. What if you chose to see the people in your life, to see them as infinite, to see them as free beings with perfect equality with you? Okay, so let's do that with each other right now. I am a free being in perfect equality with you. I am a free being in perfect equality with you. You are a free being in perfect equality with me. A Course in Miracles teaches that equality is the basis for the miracle, that you don't really have miracles in your life until you see yourself as equal to life and equal to everyone in life. So if we would like to see miracles, does that mean that we need to see ourselves as free? Yes. Does it mean that we need to see each other as perfect equals? Yes. So let's say that. I am a free being in perfect equality with you. And then you all say that to me, or type that out to me, or make the comment, or just say it in your mind. I am a free being in perfect equality with you. I am a free being in perfect equality with you. You are a free being in perfect equality with me. So then the people in your life will simply choose to receive your cosmic telegram. The people in your life have just taken on a certain role in space and time to help you play out what you want to learn. Everybody around you, they're acting out a role that they took on to help you play out something that you want to learn. We're all cosmic actors, acting out roles that we have agreed to act out with each other so that we can learn certain lessons. This is a gigantic cosmic play. This is a gigantic cosmic drama. But most people have become like insane actors who think that they are the role that they play. So now you got people really believing they are mothers, and people really believing, beings really believing that they are mothers, and beings really believing they are fathers and sisters and brothers and husbands and wives and secretaries and doctors and bankers. These are all roles that we are playing, roles that we agree to play with each other so that we can learn lessons in love. You are on stage. Everybody around you are actors. Don't you know you are surrounded by actors? Don't you know that you're just acting out a role? So if you saw the people around you as beings that you have called to yourself to help you learn certain lessons, would that begin to shift your identification with them as merely parents or husbands or children or wives or nieces or cousins? If you were to see everybody in your life as beings that you call to yourself, who are like actors, who have taken on certain roles that they are playing out with you so that both of you can learn certain lessons, what would happen in your relationship with them? If you could look upon, let's say, your parents or your mate, and parents, for instance, and you say, those are my parents, then that means you've defined yourself as only being their child. But you're more than their child. So don't you begin to see the significance? Stop seeing the people around you as your parents or as your children or as your boss or as all of these labels limit you to experience the effects of what goes with those definitions. But what if you saw that person as a being who is free and a being who you have called to yourself so that you all can act out certain roles with each other that will give both of you the opportunity to learn the spiritual loving lessons that you need to learn? That would totally change your relationship with every being in your experience. What if they continue to remain asleep? Then, just what we were told earlier, it doesn't matter if they are asleep. They are going to be awakened in the proper time in their spiritual evolution, just like you have awakened in your own time. God did not make a voice just for you. God is not going to leave anybody else asleep. And it's not our job to judge them for being asleep. And if they are hurtful, then they're only being hurtful to themselves. And that is their call for love. That is their call for help. That is their call for healing. But they're also acting out a role, giving themselves experiences that they need to learn in. It is not our job to judge. It is not our job to judge. It is our job to be the embodiment of love, to be the embodiment of truth, and to remember that you are not the victim of the world you see. It's your job to remember that you are the one that's creating your experience. It's your job to remember that you are the one that's limiting yourself or freeing yourself. It's your job to remember that you are not a body. It's your job to remember that you are innocent and you are loved and you are loving. And it's your job to remember that this is a great big learning experience, a cosmic drama. We're all playing the roles that we agreed to play to give each other the experience of awakening. It's very, very important to bring awareness to the definitions that you've given yourself. It's important for you to keep insisting upon each and every day that you have to stay aware of the definitions you are using to describe yourself. It's important every day to stay conscious of the definitions that you are applying to everybody else, knowing that you are going to live within the effects of the definitions and the concepts that you buy into and focus on. And the most important thing that you can do is accept this truth for yourself. The most important thing you can do is to accept what Way of Mastery is saying for yourself and take the focus off what about other people. That is one of the biggest tricks to block your own awakening, is to immediately start using other people as a reason for you not to continue to focus on the truth for yourself. We are all innocent, but that doesn't mean that when we are unaware of ourselves, we don't make mistakes, and those mistakes are for loving correction, and those mistakes will be lovingly corrected. When you focus on the truth every day consistently, it's like dropping the same pebble into the same stream and creating the same effects. If you keep your old patterns going, and there aren't but two patterns, there aren't but two patterns, there aren't but two patterns. Two patterns. I am separate, I am joined. There's a world that comes out of I am joined, and there's another world that comes out of I am separate. There's another world that comes out of it's your fault, you are the blame. If you would change, then I would be happy. The most limiting belief that blocks happiness is this one. If you were different, I would be happy. If they were different, I would be happy. If they spoke or acted differently, then I would be happy. That is the ego's most powerful, limiting commandment. I'm going to keep it simple. Whenever you say, if this were different, I would be happy, you are using one of the most limiting ideas that a spiritual being can use. What you should be doing is saying, I ask to be able to receive and see what I already have. I ask to be able to see the blessings that I already have. I ask to be able to see the truth that I already have. I ask to be able to see the love I already have. That's what a conscious being asks to see. The blessings and the love that they already have. An asleep being, who's really the Christ still, an asleep being is saying, if this were different, I'd be happy. If it hadn't have been because of my childhood, I'd be happy. If it had not been for what happened in my marriage, I'd be happy. Those are all statements of limitation. Those are all statements that produce pain. It brings up some fear. So your egoic mind, your worldly mind, your asleep part of your mind is going to ask, what would happen if I let go of the definitions that I'm familiar with? What would happen if I let go of all the ideas about myself that I am familiar with? If you let go of all the ideas you have about yourself, all the old learning that you have about yourself, nothing will happen. Because in reality, none of your definitions have ever truly limited your unlimited self from going on creating and experiencing throughout all dimensions. So if you let go of all the ideas of yourself that you're familiar with, what's going to happen? Nothing. Because there's nothing you can do to truly limit your real self. There's nothing you can do to truly limit your unlimited self. You're still going to go on creating. You're still going to go on experiencing throughout all dimensions, even if you let go of the ideas of yourself that you're familiar with. The only change, if you really want to know about changes, the only change that could be said to occur is that little tiny ray of your beingness, that little you that's currently dancing through the experience of being a mind, body, in this space and time. What's going to happen when you let go of the old definitions and concepts that are limiting and guilty? What's going to happen is you're going to begin to throw open the doors to your consciousness. What does that mean? You're going to actually start to access cosmic consciousness. You're going to actually start to access cosmic awareness when you let go of your limited definitions about who and what you think you are. And tonight we were told that the limiting definitions of who and what you think you are is centered on the idea that you are the body and that you are the mind that you've made up. So what does that mean? It means that if you want the experience of walking on this planet, if you want to walk on this planet as an enlightened master, if you want to walk on this planet as a conscious being, you have to first come to understand the foundation on which the way of transformation is based. If you want to be an enlightened master, you've got to understand the foundation on which the way of transformation is based. Second, you have to start becoming aware of the definitions of yourself that have almost become unconscious for you. Like, for instance, that you don't even question the idea that you're only a human being. You believe it so much that you don't even question the idea that you are a woman or a man. You don't even question the idea that you are a human being. You don't even question the idea that you are a sister, brother, mother, cousin, uncle, employee. These things have become such a part of how the average person has defined themselves that the way of mastery says that these definitions and ideas of who you are have become unconscious for you. And then you have to deliberately start to redefine yourself. That's why in this section, we were told to see ourselves as what? Unlimited beings. If you would notice, it's not just taking away concepts of ourselves and not replacing them with new concepts of ourselves that will ultimately take us beyond concepts at all. It says you're going to deliberately redefine yourself as you enter into the field of your experiences. So it's time for you to redefine yourself. It's time for you to redefine yourself. Don't fight what we're hearing. It's not about fighting what we're hearing, because if it's the truth, it's going to be true whether we believe it or not. And if you're miserable and unhappy, you don't want to be right. If you don't feel complete love in your heart for everyone and everything, you don't want to be right about the way you're seeing things. You are an actor. You're more than the actor, but you are playing a role. You're playing the role that everybody has agreed upon, including you. And out of us playing these different roles with each other, we're going to have the learning experiences that help bring us back to the awareness that we're unlimited beings. So here's the nub. No one can make the decision for you. I have never enlightened anyone. Yeshua, Jesus says, I have never enlightened anyone. I have never even so much as lifted another person an inch, Jesus says. I have merely chosen to demonstrate unlimitedness for myself. So that's your purpose. That is your task. That is what you are here to do. You're not here to fix anybody. You're not here to fix anybody. You're not here to fix anybody. You're not here to fix all the other people who are the ones that are so messed up. That's not your job. You are here to demonstrate unlimitedness to you. You're here to show yourself that you're unlimited. You're here to demonstrate unlimitedness for yourself. And focusing your attention on other people, focusing your attention on other people that need to change, how other people need to be different, and what other people are doing is a trick to keep you in a limited perspective of yourself that keeps you in a limited reality. What a person is supposed to do is demonstrate unlimitedness for themselves. And part of that experience for Jesus was taken on the crucifixion. Jesus was crucified because he wanted to learn how to overcome death. Jesus was crucified because he wanted to learn how to overcome death. That was Jesus' choice. That was Jesus' pathway. That was Jesus' calling forth of experience. And Jesus can tell you that it is so much grander to be in the body. It's so much more fun. It's so much more fun. It feels so great to be in the body while being completely aware of your cosmic self. So it's a lot more fun to be in the body and also being awake to the realization that you are an unlimited, loving being. That's the fun of being in a body. So in the same moment, let me say to you, it is perfectly okay for you to see yourself as a limited ray of consciousness. Don't get me wrong. It's perfectly okay if you want to just see yourself as a limited human being that has a certain number of years and was born and dies one day. It's okay for you to see yourself that way. Yeah, there are going to be certain results that are going to follow if you see yourself as just a human being that is born and dies. There are going to be certain results of seeing yourself that way. But the truth is, you're completely free to continue in that field of experience as long as you wish. You can keep seeing yourself as just a man, just a woman, poor, rich, a mother, a sister, a brother. You are free to continue to see yourself any way you want to see yourself for as long as you want to experience yourself that way. But just know that there are certain things that you're going to experience as a result of the definitions and the values that you have and that you believe about yourself. I'm just being straight up with you. You can see yourself any way you want to see yourself for as long as you want to see yourself that way. And your physical reality will beautifully reflect back to you your core beliefs about yourself. But the truth is, you are not the body. You are not the concepts of yourself that you made yourself to be. You are not your human mind. Your body is a communication device. It's a temporary learning tool. You are playing a role as part of a cosmic play that we all have agreed to have so that we can give each other experiences of learning, love, and you are free to see yourself as limited as you want to see yourself for as long as you want to see yourself. But just remember that however you define yourself, there are going to be certain results that follow from that definition. And, you little sweet juicy thing, you are still completely free to continue in that field of experience for as long as you want to, for as long as you wish. Mighty companion, I'm going to do a quick review of some of the stuff that we've said in this session from the Way of Mastery. I so need to hear this. I want to thank you for being a part of this Way of Mastery live Facebook stream. And if you like to make a financial expression of appreciation for the classes, to support my teaching ministry because it has meaning and value to you as a full-time teacher, I truly, truly appreciate it. If you like to do that, please go to earlpurdy.com. Also giving you the heads up that CJ, Carla Jean Adams, and I are going to be doing an incredible workshop online and in person called Share the Love, and we're going to be giving you more information about that, a new paradigm of relationships of all kinds, and it's going to be on May 12th. If you want to make sure you're on the list, that you find out more about it, then drop me an email, sign up for my contact list on my website, earlpurdy.com. My email is simply earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Can't get much simpler than that. My email is my name, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions that I use my 40 years of experience in New Thought, Course in Miracles, Way of Mastery, and my knowledge of sacred astrology and numerology to make you aware of your life purpose, what you came here to do by your choice, what are your lessons to learn, what are the blocks, what are the rewards, what are the talents, and how you can allow yourself to access those things. Those are my gifts, my services. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, to find out more about that. I do the Way of Mastery Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live. I do Hardcore Course in Miracles every Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Facebook Live. And on Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Go to www.earlpurdy.com. To watch the live broadcast, go to www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live, or go to the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, and you don't have to be a Facebook member. A person doesn't have to be a Facebook member to watch the live broadcast. My mighty companions, I want to ask you to share these videos and these classes on your timeline. Let's allow other people to have an opportunity to tune into what we're doing, and if it's God's will, join us on this mission. I cannot do it by myself. I am not by myself. We are one self, and we are here to be the light of the world. We are here to think differently from how fear-based minds think, which means whether they are asleep or not asleep, what's important is that we remember that they are not victims of the world that they see. It's important that we remember that we are unlimited beings, and that we have to stop defining ourselves as bodies. We have to stop defining ourselves as just human mind. We have to stop seeing ourselves as a victim. A conscious being never sees themselves as a victim of the world that they see. And let go of the definitions that you have of yourself. If those definitions of yourself are limited, then you're going to experience the effects of those limited definitions of yourself. A limited definition of yourself is a definition of yourself that says that you are the concepts of yourself that you have learned from the world. You are not the body. You are free. You are not a body. You are free. You are not a body. You are free. I am not a body. I am free. You're not a victim of the world you see. You're not a victim of the world you see. If you want to experience the walking of this planet, and if you want to walk this planet as an enlightened master, you have to come to understand that you are pure spirit, pure spirit, pure spirit, pure spirit. You are not your body. You are not the concepts of yourself that you learn from the world. And everyone in your life, you have called to them. You have called to them, they have called you to them, and you have called them to you. And they are beings who are unlimited, just like you. Now it's important to give yourself an unlimited definition. Tell yourself, I am the unlimited self. If you change your mind about yourself, if you let go of limited ideas about yourself, nothing's going to happen to hurt you. Your unlimited being is going to keep on creating. Your unlimited being is going to keep on experiencing through all dimensions. So stop calling in your mind. Don't look at your parents as parents. See them as unlimited beings that are playing a role that you both agreed on to give each other learning experiences that you need. Here's another blessing. Remind yourself that you are a free being and you are equal to everyone else. I am a free being and equal to everyone else. I am a free being and I'm equal to everyone else. You are a free being and you are equal to everyone else. CJ, want to send you tons of love for narrating. You continue to be a tremendous blessing in my life on every level, as well as everybody else online. I can feel you all with me. We are building a beautiful tribe of connection and remembrance. We are the Mighty Companions. And go to johnchristmas.com for the music that you're hearing. Mighty Companions, we are equal. I love how you've communicated with each other. I'm here to serve. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And may this course be with you. I will see you next time, my juicy equals. Mwah.